Now, the first road stage of the Tour is nervous enough without spectators deciding it'd be a good idea to bring the family pet along. This crash brought down David Miller, Ivan Basso and Levi Leipheimer, among others, although there were no serious injuries. Colombia's Adam Hansen wasn't so lucky. One of Mark Cavendish's key lead-out men was lost to a broken collarbone in a separate incident. And that was all before the bunch started racing.
Well, this is it, the first sprinters gathering of the 2010 Tour de France, and these are the roads on which it's all going to happen. Beautifully surfaced, reasonably wide and so straight you can literally see the finish line from over a kilometre away. Well, everything seems to be adding up to it being a super fast finish, but there's a subtle catch. With just 2.2 kilometres to go, and it's hard to tell from our images taken earlier this morning, there's a sharp downhill right bend, and that gives the sprinters team something of a dilemma. Should they choose to get all their men to the front before that point, because it will inevitably line out there, then they might find themselves running out of steam, because about 1,000 metres later, well, the road starts to ramp up, and it does so all the way to the finish. And should they die off, there may be a concertina effect, and the rest of the peloton overhauls the front runners. If they wait till after that bend, well, then they might not leave themselves enough time to get in position before the final dash for the line. Well, regardless of just how they've actually got to this point, when they get here, just who is going to be in contention? So many times seconds to our own Mark Cavendish in 2009, American Tyler Farrar shocked us all yesterday by finishing 7th in the opener, beating many prologue specialists, let alone the sprinters, so he's clearly a man on a mission. Top tip of the day, well, my money's going on Manxman, Mark Cavendish. He'll want to put the last 6 tumultuous months behind him and reassert himself at the head of the sprinting fraternity.
Well, the grandstand finish looks as though it's all coming together in Eddie Merckx's hometown here. Now we are just 2 kilometres away from this violent reverse hairpin bend as we come down a sweeping hill to make it. And look at the speed of these boys as Lampre now try to help out Alessandro Patacchi and Gregor Borle.
Well, Alessandro Patacchi would dearly love to get himself a victory on stage 1. He won himself a victory of the Tour of Switzerland. Still waiting there, waiting for the right moment to pounce is HTC Columbia. They've done this so many times before. You know, Mark Cavendish has finished in the top 10 of stages of the Tour de France on 11 occasions. 10 of those were in victory.
Well, he's a very confident man. If he doesn't think he can win, he won't even bother to go for it. But he'll be in the hunt today now. There can't be any doubt about that. Oscar Freire, he's the big danger to all the sprinters. He knows how to handle a finishing hill like today on the Rabobank squad. Looking down now, Thor Hushovd needs to move up. He's the rider in the red jersey. 2 teammates trying to move him out and move him up the line.
Well, Gerard Cholik was right up there as well for Team Milram. Don't forget, he was a rider who went down very hard in that crash with Mark Cavendish. Henrik Hauser as well in the Tour of Switzerland. He will be looking for a bit of revenge. One man pulling off the front, and it's still HTC getting actually swamped away here. So Garmin now have come up to the front end of the main field. This is for Tyler Farrar. They know he's got the ability to win this afternoon. Still no real control by HTC Columbia over on the left-hand side there. They're waiting for the right moment. I noticed Tony Martin has moved up in that line. He's got an incredible turn of speed for a kilometre or so. Cervelo test team over to the right-hand side. Still, this is all of the teams have got themselves organised. They're coming down. This is the right-hand bend that you were talking about.
And they'll switch right back on themselves here. Somebody's gone very wide. There's a crash there. Picked in the middle. It was a very, very sharp turn. As you can see, they have taken out. It's a Lampre rider lying on the road. He looks okay, I think.
Cervelo test team have got a man
HTC
down there.
are down too.
Well, there you can see that's what it's all about. The Lampre rider went down pretty hard. I think that's Oscar Freire. It is Oscar Freire.
Oh,
He's not going to be up there in the sprint, and it looks like Jeremy Hunt.
Jeremy Hunt, one of the sprinters riding his first Tour de France from the UK, also down there. And there was no HTC rider. That was a very, very nasty crash. We were anticipating that, I'm afraid. Now, they don't lose time, but of course they miss out on the finish. But they don't lose time because they've crashed inside the last 3 kilometres of the day. So they will be given the time of everybody else today, but they won't be in the hunt for the prize. We need to get back up there now as we will be approaching The 1 kilometre to go now as they get control of the front. Tony Martin has got himself up to the front now. Also in there is Eisel, and the green jersey of David Miller is now trying to bring the American Tyler Farrar to make it a perfect Independence Day.
Well, you can see there, this is, in fact, Mark Cavendish is out of
He
the
was
hunt here,
out
Phil,
of
this
it.
afternoon. He went down in that crash as
I
well.
thought I saw
Renshaw
it.
didn't go down. Renshaw is still in there with Bernard Eisel, but in fact, it's Garmin Transitions have got the control at the front end of the main field. Tyler Farrar will be sitting right at the back end of that group, and he's got the ideal lead out. Behind Miller, you'll have the South African Robbie Hunter. Behind the South African, you have the Kiwi Julian Dean. They've got what they wanted this afternoon. They've got the organisation at the front end of the main field.
Well, with Cavendish out now, this is a wide open sprint here. Tyler Farrar will go in favourite. There's been another massive pile up behind. Bernard Eisel is at the front here now as the riders have tumbled into a huge heap. The road is blocked there. I've never seen a crash like that before. They're buried. And George Hincapie walks through the melee of riders and remounts. They're all untangling themselves, but get back to the front. This is where the action is right now. Now, Tyler Farrar is here, but he looks a little bit tired. He's third wheel, Tyler Farrar, as he's going to get it. Hushoff is on his wheel, and Greg Bolle is the rider from Lamprey who's trying to do it. This is going to be a desperate moment here. Hushoff goes on the centre. Farrar, I'm not sure, has got it, has gone. Pataki, and another crash in the middle, and they have gone down as Pataki has come clear now. Alessandro Pataki is going to win the stage of the Tour de France, and he's done it amidst the massive crashes. Is he going to hang on? Yes, he is. That, Paul, is absolutely incredible.
Well, it's total chaos out there on the roads this afternoon. They were dropping like 9 pins. They're all over the road. This has been a massive crash at 500 metres to go. Blocked the road completely. There's Fabian Cancellara. Bear in mind, all of these riders will be given exactly the same time as the winner.
From our helicopter shots, we can see that it is, in fact, Mark Cavendish coming down the inside, desperately trying to stay on his teammates' wheels. That actually takes the Lamprey rider, Lorenzetto, out. He switched his focus to the Lamprey rider as they were both jostling for the same wheel, and that loss of focus right at the moment of the corner, and it was all over. And that crash at 2 kilometres left us unusually with a tightly packed peloton with 800 metres remaining. And we see here that everybody was so close together. We think it was one of the remaining quick-step riders who simply overlapped a wheel, had nowhere to go, lost his balance, went straight down, and everybody piled up on top of him, including Fabian Cancellara. On the final crash, as Pataki launches his sprint, he goes over to the left-hand side of the road. All of the riders see him. Lloyd Mondori, unfortunately, of AG2R, didn't see him. He gets caught out, goes down, and to add insult to injury, Tyler Farrar drags his bike along for a few hundred metres as well.
And from this video shot by a spectator, it's remarkable that Cancellara didn't join the long line of jinxed riders who crashed out in the yellow jersey. No chance of taking the green jersey for Mark Cavendish after he went down in the first of the crashes on the run-in, taking a couple of rivals with him.
Are you hurt, Cav? No, I'm okay. It's just life, isn't it? You know?